Tell me. That's the biggest problem on like on our side. The other side is good for my side. Have you been called? They called somebody.
All right.
Thank you for
Morning, everybody. Today is Daf Yomi. Misas Kedushin. We left off. Oh, welcome you go.
Something's in the board, right?
Check just a little bit.
It's
So we got to the two dots on Yud Beis and Aleph. First wide line, Ubeis Hill, Aymin Berputa. So we had machlekes in our Mishnah, Yud Beis. We had machlekes in our Mishnah regarding what is the minimum amount for Kesef Kedushin. So we read okay. So Beis Shammai says we ready to cover Beis Shammai. So now we're in Beis Hill. Beis Hill says only Berputa. So some Rav Yosef the name Berputa called to who? If you're about to say, Pruta is just a general sort of term, the lowest denomination, whatever the value of the lowest coin is, that's what the lowest coin, that's what the value is. Samarleya Bayi Tani on Yud Beis. Oh, you got it right there. Right? Tani. It says Kami Pruta Echad Mishmana Bizayitati. So I understand. You look at the Mishnah. It was asking how much a Pruta is. So he wants to know how much a Pruta is. Now there's a value, and that value should go from generation to generation and locale to locale. In other words, that there's a minimum standard of what its value is. So otherwise, they wouldn't say, okay, how much is it, right? So maybe only is during B'dar they did have a and over here that was just during one time, but generally the lowest denomination. So when Rav Dimi said, he said, "Shir Rav Simai b'daro kamali puta echad mishmani b'sari talki." Right? When Rav Simai came, he measured, he calculated how much it was in his generation, and the pruta was 1/8 of an isari talki. V'chiyasa Ravid Amar Rav Dustai Rav Yanid Rav Yoshia Shir kamali puta echad mishisha b'sari talki. Right? So it says 1/6. Right? So 1/6 of the isari talki. So in other words, in that case, that the pruta went up in value because this artalki was steady, was the silver, and then this one was not. So Amarle Rav Yosef Hachi. So if that's the case, by that which we learned by Tevachashiv Kama Prutais, how much is a pruta? The Shnei Salayim, right? For each seller, Yosef Alpayim. So I understand. So it says over there we had a price. So they says go out and see how many prutas are in two salaim. So we know that we said that there are eight prutas in an isser, right? And there's 96 isarim in a full sela. So 96 times 8. I don't have my calculator with me, but times 2. Right, close to 800, a little less than 1,600, right? Actually, there's 1536. 1536. So there's only 1536, and over here it says there are more than 2,000, right? More than 2,000 prutas in two salayim. So you can't. So we see over here that right. So we see over here that it does fluctuate. No, I don't know what the Chumash says. This is not the stuff. We're not doing the stone Chumash. We're doing the Gemara Rashi.
Close to the number.
It's not. This is the number. This is the Gemara. I don't know what it says there. I don't know what it's referring to. But we'll soon see. There's different tables here. There's different tables here. So it says over here. This price over here. Right. So over here, right. So it says how much is it? How much the fruit does in two salim. So Yosim Alpai. So more than 2,000. But if you do 8, there's 8 prutas. Times 96, right? So whatever that is, times 2 is 1536. Is 2. So Hashda Paim Havin Yasim Paim Karla. It's not even 2,000. You're calling it more than 2,000. So you see that it does change. Shamalu Ahu Amaleusa. But Anna Tanina La. No, we taught this price. So Karam Del Pai is close to 2,000. So Mar says so. Right? In the end of the day, it's 1,536 prutas in two salayim, right? And you're calling it around 2,000, right? Who got it? So the says no. Kavan, I'm sorry, not very close, but the says no. Kavan the nafkale mi palga karle apayim karle. right? So since it's more than half, in other words, which thousand is it close to? It's in other words, it's 1536, more than 1500. So therefore, we'll just round up. So that's what it meant over there. So let's see this machlekes over here regarding the value. So Gufa. So they calculated in this generation how much was a pruta. Echad mishmaina b'sai talpis. 1/8 of an isser. Now, how do you get that? Well, Sunti. The Chiyasa Rabin Amar Shir Rabbi Dustai, Rabbi Yana, Rabbi Yosha, Kami Pruta, Echad Meshisha b'sai talpi. How much is what was it? It was 1/6 of an isser talpi. So I'm really by the Rav Dimi Nema at the Rabin B'Pluksu Dahani tonight. Let's say this is the same machlokas as another machlokas tonight, whether it's 1/8 or 1/6. Right? So they argue the same machlokas. The tiny little brisa pruta sha'amru chacham. This pruta we talk about. Echad mishmaina b'sai talki is 1/8 of a talki. Why is that? So mea kasef dinar. Excuse me. B'sai talki. So sheish mea kasef dinar. Right. So now we're going to calculate from the largest amount, which is a dinar, right? And we're going to go down. So it's sheish ma kasef dinar, right? And ma is shnei pundayon, shnei isur is 2 isur, and isur is shnei misim, and masam is shnei kun turukinin, and kutrunik shnei prutos. Right. So now, going back to what we need to know from this price. So it goes down to 6, and each one is divided by 2. But if you look from the Isser to the Prutas, right, it's 1 Isser, right? There's times 2, times 2, times 2. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So the 8 Prutos, right, is an Isser. Now, Nimsa Pruta, Achas Mishwana Yisari Talki. It turns out that a Pruta is 1/8 of Yisari Talki. Now, Rav Gamliel Omer, he says something else. All right. So what does he say in the brisa? Rav Shimon ben Gamliel. Shleisha hadrasin lama. Now he's going to go back and calculate how much is a so 3 hadrasin is a ma. Shneansin and these hence. All right. So it's the ma. Shneansin the hadras. Shnei shemanim the henetz. Base prutas the sham. So now nimsa. So if you go back and do this calculation. Nimsa pruta achas mishisha b'sari talki. It comes out to 1/6. So how is that? Right. So those of you who have the article here, there's a nice little chart here. So when you calculate it, so one of the standards that's known is that a dinar, right, is 24 yisurim. Right. Well, at least at this point in time. Right. Now, so if we know a dinar, right, is 24 yisurim, so if we can go calculate, we know both of these. The Tanakama and Shangalil, they actually use different amounts, right? They use different amounts, right? But we know how much a ma, there's 6 ma per a dinar. So Tanakama was easy because it mentioned the word Isser. But how much does Rav Gamliel value an Isser? So if you go back and calculate, so 1 dinar, which is 6 ma, and for 6 ma is 144 prutos, right? So 6 ma is 144 prutos. So therefore, right, and then if you have 1, you divide that, which is 144, divided by 24, because there's prutos in it. So therefore, the Isser, right? So therefore, per Isser, there's 6. 6. It's 6. 144.
Divided by 25 is...
No, 24. 24.
Oh, 24.
Yeah, 24. Right? So it comes out to 1/6. So according to Tanakama is 1/8, and according to Shugalil is 1/6. So Leivamar Amar Tanakama v'Ravin Amar Rav Shugalil. So no, Ben the Didi Ben the Ravin Ali with the Tanakama. Everyone goes out Tanakama like Kasha. Had Hikari Suri, Had Zuli Suri. Right? That was one when the Isser it actually fluctuates, not the Pruta. Had Hikari Suri Kum Esri Darba. Right? One, it was more valuable. Right? There was 24. Right, it was 24 per dinar and the Zuse and the Zul when it went down, right, kum plus a return. Then it went to 132nd. 132nd, right? That's when it jumped up to 1/8 as opposed to 1/6. Right. So if you didn't follow that, the good news is that sugya is over. Amar Shmuel. Says Shmuel around 10 lines from the bottom. All right, restarting. Sakisha b'tamra. So the guy was makadesh, a woman with a date. So afilo aimer kur tamarim b'dinar. Even if an entire kur of dates was a dinar, mikudeshes one date, and it was one small amount, this large volume. So mikudeshes. Why? Chayshin and sheva pruta. Where chayshesh, that's a pruta b'mada in another location. So therefore, according to this, is going to be Shmuel's halacha for today. Shmuel's halacha for the day is that we're concerned that there is value to this one date somewhere else, and therefore it's Shavapruta, and therefore this woman is Mikudeshes to this individual. In other words, if she goes out and tries to marry somebody else, so then we don't say, oh, it wasn't a Shavapruta, she's now married to guy number two. No, you might be married to guy number one, so therefore the Kedushin won't work to the second guy. There has to be a standard. Pruta Shavapruta is not where the Pruta here, that's it. So like kasha, habakudushay vadai, habakudushay suffix. No, yeah, in Echanami, you're right. Kedushay vadai, if you know it's a pruta. If you don't know, maybe it's worth somewhere else. And how gavadakti the zabda, the person who's makadesh woman, the zabda, these different materials, right? The ordi in Yosef Rav Shimon Bar Chia kamed the Rav. The come ayin, but he was looking at the sea. Is beshav pruta ila. Right? He's trying to see whether this material, this bundle of whatever material, whatever it was, right, was worth a Sheva Pruta or not. Is it worth a Sheva Pruta? She's married. If it's not, she wasn't. So Rava says, if you left Sheva Pruta low, she's not. I were concerned that another location where they don't have these materials, it's going to be more valuable. So like Kasha, no. He was trying to see. She's not vada married to this guy, but she might be suffix married to him, right? No, she's obviously suffix married to this person, but she might even be vada. That's why I'm trying to see if it's a pruta or not. And how Gavad Degakdish Ba'avna the Kuchla. Some person was Makadish, a woman, he gave her this blue stone. Yasib Rav Chisa become a Shaila, East Bay Shav Pruta, so if it is worth a Shav Pruta or not. Bar says, if it's not, you less Bay Shav Pruta low, it's not Vamar Shmuel Chayshinan. So till now we just say, oh no, one's kedushay vade, one's kedushay suffix. New teretz. Rav Chizda lo saver lo the Shmuel. He doesn't hold like Shmuel. In other words, if it's not worth this, then we don't say, oh, in another location you might be mekudesh's suffix. So Rav Chizda lo saver lo Shmuel. He doesn't hold like Shmuel in this case. So Amrile. So in this case, what happens? So Amrile Ebe. So the mother said, well, on that day, his mother said, well, no, my son is, she always wanted her son to get married, nice Jewish girl. She says, no, on that day, if you look back, it was worth, that's what it was worth, right? But even though right now, when you're checking it 2 months later, the blue stone is not worth that, but back then, it was worth Sheva Pruta. He told her, if this girl went ahead and married someone else, so that was Reuven. Reuven gave it to her. The mother of Reuven said, "Oh, she's married because the stone was worth, 2 months ago was worth that." So it says, Rav Chizda, right? This is Rav Chizda. Was this case? Rav Chizda, yeah. So he says, no, you don't have the power, and then she went ahead and marry Shimon. You don't have the power to say that she was married to Reuven, right, 2 months ago, and now Aser on her current husband Shimon. You don't have the power. Lav Kolkamina, that's what Abasre, right? Why is that? Turn the page. Lav Hainu, the Yehudis, they say the Rebbe Kia. This is not the case of Yehudis, who was the wife of Zentai, who was the wife of Reb Chia, obviously Sarleda, right? She was having, she had children, and it was pain, right? Right, Tumim, right? It was twins. Rashi says, right, and she's very angry at her husband. So Amrle, and she told that, I guess, after the difficult birth, Amrle, so she told him, Amrle, hey, my mother told me when I was younger, right? So Amrle, hey, Kiba Bech Avicha Kedusha Kizutar. Right, that my father basically, was makabel kedushin for me from somebody else. That was I'm not married to Reb Chia, right? So in other words, don't
She's having his
or after the kids, don't think about ever having kids with me again, because first of all, your kids are mamzerim, and second of all, we're not having kids anymore, right? I guess it's a way of avoiding having kids again. Samala, so Reb Chia said, "Lav kol kaminech," right? The emech dasis lechaloi, right? You don't have the net manus, right? Right now, this is the current situation, right? The current situation is we're married. You don't have the kayach to go ahead and say that your father was makabel kedushin on your behalf earlier. So therefore we see that you lav kol kaminech from this case. Now, Amalei Rabban Rav Chizda, so Rabban says Rav Chizda. Am I in this case, right? Do we say that she is not married? Well, there's witnesses and this in another place that can testify about the value of this blue stone. Why do you keep dismissing that she's married to man number one? Right? She should be, right? There's witnesses that can go ahead and you look it up. There's no Google, but you can go ahead and go to the witnesses. They'll tell you it was worth that day. So he says, no. Come on. That's not Isnu. Right? So he says, Lamaisa right now, right? Yeah, let's know, right? Right now, Mia Lesno, they're not before us. Right? And Lav Haina Chanina, like Chanina, Damar Chanina. Right, so we had a case of, let's say a woman was held in captivity, and she says, yes, I was held in captivity, but I was pure. So in other words, that's the case of Pesha Asar Pesha Hitir. She was one who brought it up. So they say, no, you don't even have Pesha Asar. There's witnesses in another town that can testify that you were held captive, and if that's the case, you can't go ahead and marry a Kohen. Right? So in that case over there, so he says, the witnesses are there, and we're going to answer this woman. Forget about it. No, if the witnesses aren't here, then we don't. Then they're done. The Rava like sphere leilahad actually Abai Rava, right? So Abai Rava like sphere leilahad, right? Because they don't hold like that. So they say imikilu b'shvuya d'menavol nafsha gabi shavai, right? No, it's over there. We're makel by a shvuya, right? She was held captive. And she didn't want to be violated, so she would make herself unappealing to her captors. So just because of that, we're going to be makel when it comes to an Eishasish. Perhaps she's over there. Therefore, we're concerned that she's married to man number one. So Ishtaya, Mihai Mishpacha Basura, there were still some descendants, I guess, from this family, from the second husband. Uparshu Rabbanan Mina. However, the Rabbanan did not really want to go ahead and allow the children to go ahead and marry into the people.
So what they mamzer?
They were chayshish. Right? Not because we had like Shmuel that perhaps it was worth Shavkuta and Madai. Rather because maybe held like Abai and Rabba who said that there were potential witnesses that could testify about the blue stone that was worth Shavkuta, and that's the reason why. How there was a person who went ahead and is Mekadesh woman, I guess, with a certain amount of myrtle branches, Beshuka in the marketplace. So Shalka Rav Acha Bar Huna Lekamed Rav Yosef Chai Gavna Mai. Well, in this case, I guess Shavruth or not, Shalachle, I don't know or not, but Nogdei Karav, go ahead and give him Malchus, the Yitzchak Gita, and also she needs to get like Shmuel, because maybe even though it wasn't worth anything in the marketplace, maybe in Madai it was worth Shavruta. Therefore, it's a suffix. Go ahead and give her a get, but also give this guy Malchus. Because Rav used to go ahead and order Malchus to be given to those who are Mekadesh women in the marketplace. The other Mekadesh Bia, also a person who's Mekadesh woman through Bia. The other Mekadesh Shiduchi, and also one who's made Kedushin without prior, I guess, financial arrangements. The other Vatal Gita, also a person who writes a get and nullifies his get before it's written. The other Masa Madina Gita, also one who makes a statement about his get that he's not giving it willingly. The other the Rabbanan, a person who goes ahead and makes miserable the lives of those who are agents of the courts. The Al Dechala Shamta Ila Tlasia, and also a person who remains in the Cherem for 30 days and not fixes his behavior. And also also a future son-in-law that lives in the houses of his in-laws. The rest was that he stays there, like we know there's different minhagim that the one when he would go ahead and stay by
you put somebody in harem for that.
No. Cherem was if a person was deserving of cherem, and they said, okay, you have to stop doing this, and you're being cherem until you do it, right? But if the person does not, right, the guy's withholding a get, so they put him in a chair. So if he doesn't rectify within 30 days, then they give the person malchus. And over here was talking about, I believe it was a person who's only mekadesh. See Rashi for a second. Yeah, okay. Right. So over here we're talking about somebody. I guess he was not. I guess he was only kedushin, not erison, and he was living in his in-laws' house. So then he gets malchus. Gemara says the dyer ina chaliflo, only if a person, but he's not there for. Excuse me. Even if he's married there, so he lives in in-laws' house, we're chayshish by with the mother-in-law, right? With the mother-in-law. So Gemara says, only if he lives there, but not if he's passing by. There was a guy who lived by his in-laws. Rav Sheshes gave him malchus. So our answer no. Yeah, right. So over there, that mother-in-law was known to be particularly not so serious. And therefore, she was suspected of having relations with him, and that was the reason why, even though he was there for a short period of time, he got malchus. And the Hardi Amri, the Kulula Menagid Rav, and the Hardi, they said no, none of them get malchus by Rav. Ella al the Mekadesh Bia below Shidduch. The only person who's Mekadesh with Bia without any sort of financial preparations before. If Ikad Amri, and some say it was Afilu b'Shidduch Nami v'Shim Pritzusa. Even if they did it with Shidduch Mekadesh Bia, that is no good because of Pritzus. Now, how got the Kadesh the visa das? There's also a person who is Makadesh, a woman with also some pieces of myrtle. This is not what Shavruta. So why don't you go ahead and open it up and see inside? And there's the 4 zuz inside, wrapped inside. Surprise. Shaklasa vishtika. So she had in her hand and she was quiet. So she didn't say anything. She didn't say no. She didn't say yes. She was quiet. So Amarava, Havi Shtika Sal Matamos. This is Shtika after the giving of money. The Chol Shtikusa Matamos Lav Klubo. Anything that's quiet afterwards, there was Matamos, and then there was Shtika later on, right? That is not considered to be consent. There is no consent in that situation.
The Zvan is there. You tell the woman when
she's Mekadesh. Right.
She doesn't say anything.
So another over here, but that's this is Achar Matamos. How do you know that? The tiny learner by Samarla Kinsi Sela Zabikadam. A guy says to a woman, hold on to the Sela as a Pikadam. And then later on, so she took it. Later on, an hour later, he says, "Be Mekadesh me with that Sela that you're holding on to me." The Shas Matamos during the Matamos Mikudeshes. If it's during the Zman of Matamos, then Mikudeshes Matamos. But it was after giving her the money. Rasta Mikudeshes, lo Rasta in Mikudeshes. If she wants, she's Mikudeshes. She doesn't want any Mikudeshes. That was at Lachar Matamos. Now, my Rasta, my lo Rasta. What does it mean? She wanted or she didn't want? If it's talking about a case where she wants, she says yes, and she says no. It's mishpal to Reisha. Then in the case of the Reisha, if it was during the Shas Matamos, she'd be Mikudeshes all the way. Either way, whether she says yes or no, I don't understand. Kiyamar lo, nami havi kedushin. When she says no, right? Even Shas Matamos, we be Mekadesh me no. So she's married because it was during Shas Matamos. Am I? She said no. Elav, rather no. What does it mean? Rasta da'amra in Laura. So when she wants, he gives the money. That's during Matamos, it's fine as long as she doesn't say no, right? Or she says yes, right? But it means,
what do we mean by Matamos?
Remember, he gave
giving her over
because he gave her the money earlier as a pikadon, and then later on he says that money that I gave you an hour ago. Mekadesh to me. So that's called the Achar Matamos.
Oh, I see.
Now over here, so this is what we're saying. So after Matamos, so Ella means like this. When she wants, she says after Matamos Mekadesh, she says yes. Laura stuff she doesn't want. What could that be? That is the Shtika Mishtaka, right? When she's quiet, right? She's quiet. So if she says, "Oh, that money I gave you an hour ago to be Mekadesh to me," she doesn't say a word. That she's not married there. And we learn from over here that the shtika after machamos is not considered anything. the only way to have consent when it's not given later on is for her to say yes. I will stop here. Everyone have a wonderful Shabbos, and we'll see you 6